Everything that you want within your life is at the other side of quitting weed. And the reason why I say that is because anything within your life is achievable. Any goal that you want to achieve is achievable. But the thing is that you need energy, focus, and clarity to achieve those things. A lot of people don't know this, but weed lessens those three things. The thing about the world today is that the world is it's kind of hard. I'm not gonna lie. Like there's so many things that are working against you today, like the whole job market, the economy, all that different type of stuff people talk about today. So you're at a disadvantage right now when you're smoking weed every single day. You're at a huge disadvantage because there's competition out there who's gonna go get the thing that you wanna get, who doesn't smoke weed every day and who doesn't operate at such a deficit. Because the thing that people don't realize is that smoking weed literally screws up your brain chemistry. It literally makes your brain mush. And my grandfather used to say this all the time when I was a kid. He used to say that, oh, don't smoke weed. It's going to shrink your brain. And I used to think like, yo, shut up, bro. This guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. But now that I think about it, it actually does kind of shrink your brain because it screws up your brain chemistry so much that it makes you believe that nothing wrong is happening to your brain. It's kind of crazy. And if you guys don't know who I am, if this is your first time on this channel, I used to be addicted to weed for like 7 years straight. I used to smoke every single day. Sometimes I used to even smoke 5 times a day, and it took me 5 years to actually quit smoking weed. But that's besides the point. When I was smoking weed every single day, I didn't even know what being sober even felt like. And when I say sober, I'm not talking about like the 5 minutes in the morning time before you smoke. I'm talking about having a normal, healthy brain. Because people really don't realize and understand that weed is literally screwing up your brain chemistry. And when I say brain chemistry, you're screwing with the chemicals within your brain that are responsible for happiness, motivation, energy. For example, your dopamine receptors. When you smoke a bunch of weed, what do you think's happening to your brain? When you smoke weed, what's happening is you're spiking your dopamine. And when you spike your dopamine to an unnatural level, which what weed does, it drops. And you know that feeling, like you know what the come down of being high feels like. It doesn't feel too good. You feel low energy. You kind of feel like lethargic a bit. You feel like you don't want to talk to people. That's your dopamine levels dropping. But the thing is that it drops below the natural baseline. So let's say you're to smoke weed and your natural dopamine baseline is at 0. Your dopamine levels go up to, let's say, a 50. And then it drops below 0 and it goes down to like -20. That's why people need to smoke again after the come down to feel normal again, because their dopamine levels at a -20, so they need to smoke again to get their dopamine levels back to 0. And if you guys don't know what dopamine is literally the chemical in your brain that's responsible for motivation, feeling good. So what do you think is going to happen if your dopamine receptors is out of whack? And people don't understand this or realize this for some reason. If your dopamine levels are operating at such a deficit, what makes you think that you're going to figure out what you want to do with your life? What makes you think that you're going to achieve the goal that you want to achieve? Your motivation levels are literally screwed. Dopamine is so important to achieving what you want to achieve because if you don't have normal, natural levels of dopamine, what do you think is going to happen? This is why you feel so lazy. This is why... This is why there's a huge stigma about stoners being lazy, because they are. Like, they fucking are lazy. And I'm not even going to talk about the serotonin levels either, or actually I'll talk about that a bit, but your serotonin levels too. Weed kind of like indirectly affects your serotonin levels. So if your serotonin levels are out of whack, what do you think is going to happen? Your mood is going to be unregulated. And we all know this. What happens when you artificially induce something within your body? Your body stops producing that thing, or that thing becomes out of whack or gets out of homeostasis. It's kind of like taking steroids, for example. If you're injecting testosterone in your body, what do you think is going to happen? Your body's going to stop naturally producing that chemical because your body's already getting too much of it artificially. So your body says, "Oh yeah, I don't need to do this because I'm already getting I don't need to make this chemical because I'm already getting it artificially." So this is the reason why weed fucks up your brain chemistry, and people don't realize this. Now, in today's world, you need to be at the top of your game. You need to be at the top of your shit, or you're going to get left behind, especially in today's economy. People don't know this, especially the kids who are in high school. I feel like people who graduate in college or university, they're the only ones who are feeling it right now. But it's kind of hard to get jobs nowadays from what I've seen. Like, I'm a barber, so I don't really feel it, but I cut a lot of people's hair, and a lot of people job searching, whatever, this, that. A lot of people are struggling nowadays to get jobs. A lot of people are struggling to find some sort of success. The home prices are at an all-time high. But at the same time, though, today's the easiest it's ever been to make money online. So that's the thing. If you're operating at a deficit, what makes you think that your competition who's not smoking weed every single day isn't going to beat you out? Because if you want a certain job, there's thousands of people who want the same exact job as you. So if you're not showing up with your what's the quote, like with your best foot forward every single day, what makes you think that you're going to get the job over that person? Your qualifications? That person has the same exact qualifications as you. That person has the same exact qualifications as you, but the thing is, he doesn't smoke weed every single day and he's not operating at a deficit. So this is the big thing that people don't realize. You need to cut out your bad weed habit. You need to cut that out, because everything that you want within your life is literally at the other side of smoking, at the other side of quitting weed. When I quit weed, everything within my life just 10x'd. Why? Because I actually had energy, I had motivation, and I had clarity. I had focus. When you have a normal sober brain, things just become clear to you. You start operating in a way where it feels like you don't need to drink coffee in the morning time. It feels like you have natural energy. It feels like you just have this self-sustaining energy. It's kind of like you're running off of solar energy. I don't even know how to explain it. It's kind of hard to explain. When your dopamine levels are normal, you just feel happy for no reason most of the time. When your serotonin levels are normal, you feel like a baseline mood of happiness. You could be walking in the park and you could just look at a leaf falling off the tree and you'll be like, yo, this is actually so fun. It's not to the point where you have to smoke weed every single time you have to watch a movie or go to the mall or every time you have to eat. No, you get a normal baseline of just like a happy mood. So if you smoking weed makes you operate at a deficit and you don't really know what you want to do with your life and you're kind of stuck within your life right now, you don't really know what your next moves are, what makes you think that you're going to figure it out? I think Einstein said it. I'm pretty sure it was Einstein. He said something along the lines of like, you can't fix a problem at the same consciousness level that created it. What makes you think you're going to fix your problems with the current state that you're at right now? What makes you think that you're going to figure things out at the current state that you're at right now? No, you need to grow. You need to gain knowledge. You actually need to get on your shit. And then the problem will solve itself. You will be at a certain level of consciousness where that problem's even able to be solved. So yeah, guys, like a lot of people, it's kind of crazy to me because people don't see this and people don't actually see the detriment that weed is actually doing to themselves. And I feel like a lot of people, if they just experience what being sober felt like, if they actually experience what being or like having a normal brain feels like, they would just say like, yeah, I don't want to smoke weed anymore. Because why would they? People smoke every single day to feel normal. Because that's what essentially you're doing. And the reason why people smoke weed to feel normal is because basically what you're doing is you're smoking weed every single day to kind of like make up for the lost brain chemistry that you have. Because weed just screws up your brain chemistry, right? So right now, your baseline of brain chemistry, like your dopamine levels, your serotonin levels, it's kind of like at normal, not normal, it's below normal. It's kind of like out of whack. But what weed does for you is it gives you those chemicals. So if your natural dopamine baseline is at like a -10, then you need to smoke weed to get to like a 0 basically. So what you're essentially doing is you are smoking to get your brain chemistry level to a level that it would be if you didn't smoke in the first place. Just think about that. Like really think about that. And I know a lot of people who are addicted to weed, they kind of have issues when it comes to quitting. Like I have issues too. It took me 5 years of actually trying to quit. Multiple failed attempts of trying to quit to actually get to the point where I have full control over my weed addiction. And if you need help with your weed addiction, if you need help of getting full control over your addiction, not necessarily quitting, because the thing is that I still smoke, but I'll smoke like 2 to 3 times a year. If that, once in every blue moon. Like I don't care for weed. I could go the rest of my life without smoking weed if I really wanted to. But if you need help quitting weed, just click the link in the description below. If you need help taking full control over your weed addiction, just click the link in the description below. I have a whole program where I help people do that, and I help people take full control. Trust me, If you're the type of person who who is struggling, if you've quit or tried quitting multiple times, and this is definitely something worth checking out for you. But yes, quitting weed is literally the first step to getting what you want within your life. Because what makes you think that you're going to get the physique that you want if you're operating on a deficit? You don't even have the motivation in your brain to even go to the gym. This is why you're so inconsistent with the gym. This is why a lot of people who smoke weed, they're super inconsistent with things and they can't stick to things because they just don't have the natural motivation. And some people say like, oh yeah, I'm actually more productive. I'm more productive on weed, but that's complete bullshit too. And that's actually complete nonsense. And the reason why it's complete nonsense is because what you're doing when you're smoking weed is you're just giving your brain the artificial chemicals it needs to operate. So you have zero motivation when you don't smoke. So obviously you're going to have to smoke to get the motivation and to get the dopamine to even do the things that you need to do. So the whole like functional stoner thing, it's such bullshit, bro. It's such bullshit. I'll make another video about that, but it's complete nonsense. So you have no excuse right now on why you should be smoking. You literally have zero excuse right now on why you shouldn't quit weed. The only reason why you're even smoking weed right now in the first place is because you're addicted. Is because you have an emotional subconscious connection to weed. Is because there's something that you're trying to escape from. There's something that you're trying to hide from. You don't want to feel the feelings of being sober because when you're sober, certain things come up within your brain or come up within your mind that you don't want to face and you don't want to deal with. So really think about that, guys.